Hello, this is Flame Flash, and you're watching FlameFlash.net podcast, or listening to episode 29. We're going to get right to it because I've got a full plate. I like that. Raptr report says, yes, World of Warcraft reigns supreme. 4.3 hit, and 4.3 hit without much to do as far as technical hiccups, glitches, or the like. There's not much I can't say that I can say about 4.3 yet, as I just logged in long enough to buy transmogrification and void storage on one character, but I hope to hit the Justice Points vendors and see what else they have to offer now that's new, and hopefully bring down Deathwing thanks to the new Raid Finder tool. Terraria. From the Raptr report, the kids actually utilized Terraria today. They're over the Thanksgiving break. Didn't have much opportunity for that one myself, but it's still a strong game, and I've mentioned it before, so I'll just lightly and gently tap it, one I will definitely return to at some point. Stronghold 2 shows up on the Raptr report, thanks to the son who likes using the world builder tools in this one. They seem to be much stronger and better evolved than Stronghold 1, and one of these days, with the right computer setup, maybe we'll pick up Stronghold 3 and he can really tap into his potential of laying out those worlds. Magica. Magica was on sale, nice and cheap, and I greatly appreciate that it was gifted to me. I've heard great things about it, only great things about it, and the controls drove me nuts. It's a really cool game, but it's a game that will give you carpal tunnel syndrome, because I need to figure out a different way of moving around in the world. I tried using an Xbox controller. I have a USB corded one. That didn't work out so well. Maybe I need to plug it in before starting the game. I'm not sure what really happened there. It didn't work as I had expected it to. But the mouse controls, I'm used to WASD being how I move. WASD being the arrow keys, up, down, left, and right. The arrow keys were completely unresponsive. The number pad was completely unresponsive. I had to click. I would love if somebody would forward recommendations on how to control Magica a little bit cleaner, because it's a really neat game with that magic combination system that they offer. I want to be able to play it without getting carpal tunnel syndrome. So, podcast at flameflash.net, by the way. Yay, plugging the email this early. Or tweet at me, flameflash. Though in a tweet, I don't think you can tell me how to customize my controls, so try to send an email. DC Universe Online on the PC was tapped, this time legitimately. Son checked out the villain side of things. He's been a hero on the PlayStation, and you only get 2 character slots as a freebie member. So they filled them. Son used one, daughter used the other. He wanted to try out villain. I'm welcome to delete the character at any time. Haven't yet. But in the same vein as DC Universe Online, we're looking at the new DC Universe Lightning Strikes. That's the next expansion pack coming out for them, or downloadable content. I'm not really sure what you call it in freemium games, but it's going to bring lightning powers from the DC Universe world into the game, which actually has me interested. One thing that had kept me from even trying the game was the fact that I didn't find any of the power sets engaging. Fire, sorcery, ice, nature. I think there was some kind of a mental or telekinetic ability. Just, they didn't grab me. I think of myself as a electrical elemental, or that's what my role-playing characters in the past, the element that they would use. Actually, was discussing this with Red Flare. We have the traditional earth, fire, wind, and water, and heart if you follow Captain Planet. But what about electricity? It's not technically fire. Its energy can start fires, certainly. But it's not really air or water. It's something in between. So why not get rid of heart and give that kid an electrical ring instead? And maybe get some other kid to do heart just so the Captain Planet is all warm and fuzzy. But electricity. In today's world, it's what I certainly identify the most with as far as the elements are concerned. That and snow. I like snow. Anyway. Magic the Gathering, Duels of the Planeswalker, 2012 for the PlayStation Network. Played a little more there. The Jace deck, the Blue Illusion deck, seems actually a bit overpowered at this point. I'm still having fun with the game, but I'm worried to go online because I think everybody will just be playing the Jace deck, which won't be fun for me. Maybe others have found decks that are just as overpowered, or maybe they're balanced, but against the computer players, and as an arch nemesis, the Jace deck with 40 life and those arch nemesis cards wipes the floor. So if you're stuck, try the Jace deck. And finally, Sid Meier's Civilization Revolution shows up on the Raptr report. It looks like the sun snuck that one in. I finally got around to putting batteries in the Xbox controllers again. So he had a good time with that this evening. Raptr report was surprisingly short. Hey, rhymes, yay. Compared to what I would think after the Thanksgiving weekend. But we had basically 2 Thanksgivings. One with extended family in a town nearby, and then one at home with just the core family. So that left only Saturday and Sunday, and we did our usual Saturday and Sunday routines of, say, folding laundry, catching up on things, getting to spend time with the kids. So not much gaming for the Raptr report, but it doesn't mean it was a slow news week. Far from it. For instance, still in the gaming vein, Super Mario Land 3DS is a system seller. Nintendo should have sat on the 3DS until Super Mario Land 3DS was ready. I don't know why they did this. But since Super Mario Land 3DS came out, sales of the 3DS has increased by 325% since November 6th. That's incredible. I really hope that the 3DS has enough legs to stand on so it doesn't turn into Virtual Boy. I'd like to be able to walk by people as I use my 3DS as a pedometer and actually get some hits. So far I've only run into 3 people. And I've traveled to Iowa and back. I've gone all over the place in my local areas. Nothing. Anyway, speaking of the 3DS, incoming is going to be a patch to the operating system. So be sure you connect to the system online and check for that early next month. Check for it mid next month. That way you're sure it's out. But anyway, you're going to get some new Street Pass games. some new 3D video support, like recording 3D video for all of you who have that handy-dandy 3D cell phone display. I don't. And then you can pass games you buy in the eShop in your household from 3DS to 3DS. Or at least that's the theory. So you ambassadors out there, there's an ambassador game that you don't play often, but your kids like it and want to steal your 3DS. Pass it to theirs. Or pass it to your wife's and let them steal hers. We only have one 3DS in the household, but it's a cool feature for the future. Or if you have siblings or multiple 3DSs, this would be a way to actually save some money by simply sharing the eShop purchase back and forth. If you're done with the game, share it over. If they've finished with it, share it back, since your 3DS was the one that originally purchased it. Very cool. Mario Kart 7, staying in the 3DS zone, oddly. We got an IGN.com review of a 9. I am definitely looking forward to it. My pre-order has been vindicated. Not that I'd be upset or angry or stop my pre-order if they said it stunk, but I'd be disappointed. Really looking forward to that one. Mario Kart is one of the staples of my Nintendo playtime. Haven't gotten back to go the original, or not the original, but the Mario Kart for the Wii in a while to continue to catch up there, but I will in time. Gaming console news. The Vita, the PlayStation Vita, SD card slot. Alright. Now, if you go to Amazon.com right now, hit that little search box on flameflash.net, yes, I'm an affiliate, and do 32 gig SD card, Amazon's going to eventually lead you to a $39 itty-bitty device. Well, Sony is expecting you to shell out $120 for the same tiny little piece of plastic that will store your games. 32 gigs for $120. Microsoft didn't even have that audacity, and they were trying to charge you a hefty fee for 120 gig upgrades back on the old style Xbox. The one that could actually red ring with a real red ring. Unbelievable. That is actually a huge detriment to me being interested or getting a PlayStation Vita. I need to be able to store my media cheaply, securely, and be able to carry it with me. I have a lot of PlayStation Plus downloads. I have a lot of PlayStation 1 originals that I would absolutely love to hold in my hand and play. But I can't easily do that right now because it would involve me having to sync up the PlayStation, or the PSP to the PS3, copy it over with a slow USB cable, clear out the Sony proprietary memory stick that I have in there. And it's a slower process, which is probably why I've backed off from using it. Why, Sony? You're putting a hidden cost on the PSP so that it is not the $250, $300 super console that you expect it to be, but a $450 console if you get the 3G model and a 32 gig card. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but you're buying a console to play games. You're going to want to download those games. You're going to want some place to put those games. Why, if you're doing digital format, would you want to go smaller than the maximum so that you could fit it all on one card? It doesn't make sense to me. So it doesn't make sense to me why they're charging triple or more, quadruple the price of an SD card. And I'll get off my high horse. I would really appreciate it if somebody would explain to me what the Xbox 360 TV update that's going to be coming actually entails. Something about a FiOS customer or FiOS cable, FiOS. But do you have to be to get the TV? I'm interested in picking up Xbox Live again if it means I could stream TV to my Xbox. That would justify the price of Xbox Live to me. Then I could cancel cable, get a few of the staple channels that I love, hopefully, and with Netflix be very happy with the options I have for my TV with Netflix and the Xbox. But I don't see out there what's actually coming. And that worries me a little bit. I mean, it's what shot 3DS in the foot and the Wii U coverage in the foot. Yes, we're going to have games. Be interested in us now. Well, no. People are buying your system now, the 3DS, because Super Mario Land 3DS is a good game, from what I've heard. So, why would I go out and buy a system or subscribe to a service that I don't know everything about? Arg. Give me more information. By the way, the PlayStation 3 is going to be getting a firmware update. So if you haven't already, sign up for PlayStation Plus and queue it up. Or don't sign up for PlayStation Plus and just go and download it. But it's going to give you some privacy options so you don't get spammed through messages. It's going to give you some privacy options for being friend requested. And it's going to update the PS3 and get ready for the Vita. And give you some PlayStation Plus extra options. Turning on and off, say, trophy syncing or save syncing, etc. Leave it all on. Alright. Last but not least, definitely not least, Chrono Trigger is coming to the iOS. So you will soon be able to play Chrono Trigger on your iPad or iPhone or iTouch. Awesome. You have to give Squeenix a nice big salute or hug, depending. Handshake, I don't know. For their marketing prowess. I heard recently that, or just today, Final Fantasy II for the iOS was updated for iOS 5. That's amazing. Playing Final Fantasy II, Chrono Trigger, all on a handheld device that's not specifically for gaming. I love it. Absolutely love the idea. Alright. Flying through these. That's good. So, I've covered the AT&T and TMobile merger plan. Well, it's been withdrawn. Internet pressure was enough. Senators, FCC people were smart enough to read between the lines and not believe that a merger would bring about more jobs and more security and better prices for customers. And they've withdrawn their merger request from the FCC. Now, this doesn't mean it's gone. T-Mobile could be approached by another cell phone company or by another company entirely and be bought out. or AT&T might still go forward and try to assimilate them. Don't know. But the legal roadblocks are being set up and built up pretty heavily to prevent that from happening at the moment. Speaking of the internet, speaking of the government, a high school tweeter in Kansas, 18-year-old student who honestly should not be using her real name on Twitter or giving out her email address on Twitter. Why? I have no idea. Do these people not understand that you're going to get spammed? Anyway, she tweeted a rather negative comment regarding Kansas Governor Brownback. Brownback's office, in turn, got pretty uppity about it, contacted the organization that sponsored why she was at whatever event it was that inspired her to write a negative comment. That organization contacted the school, and the school tried to force her to write an apology to the governor. She refused, and the kerfluffle has blown over for the most part at this point. But in a time of budget cuts and government pulling back for spending, this was a nice big waste of resources. Good job, Governor Brownback. Weird. Her popularity on Twitter, though, she doesn't tweet much. 10,000 some odd followers. And miss, please change your name. I know the cat's already out of the bag, but do something to protect yourself. There are lots of nutcases out on the internet. It was mind-boggling, though. That mixed with, say, Occupy protesters having to climb trees to avoid citations. Yes, in Tucson, LA, they're climbing trees to try to avoid being arrested or cited for trespassing or whatever other trumped-up charges. And not to mention the LA police avoiding letting all reporters know what's going on. Now, I totally understand the need for having a secure area to keep the journalists out of the way, but that needs to be set up in eye shot of where everything is happening. Rent a rooftop or something, people. Don't kick everyone out unless they have an approved LA Police Department press badge. I am currently working as somebody in journalism by talking to everyone, by recording this podcast. Flame Flash is a journalist. Even though I'm not even using my real name, I am a journalist right now. As are dozens of people on these Occupy locations who are simply reporting what's going on there at those camps. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with trying to cover and show everyone else what's going on there and how they're being treated, or how they're being cleared out, or why in the world they're getting pepper sprayed? It just doesn't make sense. The Occupy movement doesn't make sense to me, but that little thing called the Bill of Rights says they can do it. So let them. You know, freedom of assembly, speech, the press. Anybody heard of it? Hello? Sorry. All right. Oh. A fun, subtle, yes, your Gemini is jumping. Just for a second, I forgot to mention this. Fun, subtle, wow, 4.3 change. You know those enchanting scrolls The icon changed. So it doesn't look like a cooking recipe anymore. It looks like its own thing. I really appreciate that. Sorry. Anyway, final up. The National Defense Authorization Act. Yeah, the Senate passed that. I think it's on its way to the president. One of the provisions deems that the president can declare our backyard, the United States of America, as a war zone and detain American citizens without trial as, combatants. I don't think so. I don't think so. Fortunately, President Obama has pledged to veto this, but that mixed with the Occupy stuff, mixed with the SOPA bill, the internet blacklist bills, merely makes one worry. Might have to go find a good coral reef island somewhere and claim it as my own and become the ruler of that. Or find a parallel universe. That might be nice too. I think the coral reef is more viable. Anyway. Don't mean to leave on a downer, so I'm going to mention that I'm over on Zangermarsh on World of Warcraft. Check out flameflash.net. I have a nice list of all of my tunes there. Flameflash.net is where this podcast is going to be going. Search for me on iTunes. Search for me on Facebook. Flameflash.net has a fan page. Search for me on the PlayStation Network. I'm not going to be changing my settings anytime soon to block people. And search for me on Twitter. Flameflash. Flameflash, Flameflash, Flameflash. PSN, Twitter, podcast at flameflash.net for emails. Flameflash82 on Xbox for some reason, though I don't have live, so it doesn't really matter. And this will be Flameflash. Signing off.